Did you know? Do you know where the European Green Capital of 2015 is? You've no idea.
No, I didn't know.
No,
but you're going to tell
me.
me.
No, you don't know. You so know because I put it on the autocue. It's Bristol. It's Bristol. I didn't know that.
No, had no idea.
I'm not even aware how green Bristol is, but maybe it's not as green as it could be because new trees are springing up there all over the place. It's a scheme called One Tree Per Child. The aim is by March next year, they hope to have 36,000 trees. That's probably because they've got 36,000 children living there, I would imagine. That's how it works out. From Channel 4's Grand Designs, the grand plan now will be revealed by the TV presenter, Mr. Kevin McCloud. Kevin, good morning to you.
Morning.
Looks as if you've got 36,000 children with you there in that very field.
They're all here, yeah, but you're right, it's 36,000 kids across Bristol, across all the schools, and this is a scheme which has been, well, initiated by One Tree Per Child with Bristol City Council, but also two other charities based in Bristol. One is Tree Aid and the other one is Chase Africa. So not only is this a charitable initiative to plant trees across the whole of the city, but it's to extend it across the country and, for that matter, across the world. One Tree Per Child is happening in Australia, and it's now happening in Ghana and Mali and Kenya as well. So this is sort of Bristol taking the lead in a sort of big international tree planting initiative, yeah.
Yeah. Now, how green a city is Bristol?
Oh, I think, as you know, among British cities, enormously so. I mean, there are an amazing number of initiatives. And I think you've got to remember that when a city gets green capital status, rather like European City of Culture, what it means is that it's a springboard for initiatives. So there are lots of small community initiatives. There are over 800 community initiatives in Bristol, all of which are local and are in the communities all around the centre. And then lots of new companies springing up, lots of new initiatives. The mayor here, George Ferguson, has initiated all kinds of transport, food growing, energy initiatives with an energy company now supplying Bristol. Bristol has its own pound even. It's pretty unique among British cities.
Right. So to take part in this, who sponsors the tree? Where do you get permission? Can you just plant a tree anywhere? Are the trees sponsored? Do you pay for them? How's it structured?
Well, it's structured. It's very simple. I mean, the point about a tree is that the tree itself is pretty cheap. It's a few quid. But then there's the stake and the wire and the netting. But really, the major cost in a tree is planting and maintenance. So if you get kids involved, if you like, the children of this world are an enormous unpaid labour force. You can think of it like that. But most importantly of all, it's the maintenance of these trees and in the spaces where they're planted that matters. And if you look behind what One Tree Per Child is, what it means, it's not simply about planting, it's also about using trees, community orchards, using, if you like, the taking ownership of place through planting that allows kids and communities to forge better relationships with where they live. So the people in the communities here who are planting these are going to come back and they're going to have a real investment. They've got a real stake, if you like, in making sure that this orchard that they're planting thrives. And that's a really important ultimate goal of this. It's about taking land which is fairly low grade, maybe just mown 5 times a year, on our roundabouts and in our parks, and turning it into useful, productive space that maybe, produces nuts or fruit, but at the same time is amenity and provides rich setting for wildlife, for biodiversity, and a fantastic connection for community to place. And all of these things are absolutely fundamental to good sustainable living.
And talking about good sustainable living, big climate change conference coming up in Paris. A lot of leaders from around the world attending this sort of thing. Trees, obviously very close to your heart. You can see aesthetically why they're so good, but also from a practical point of view, how they can begin to heal the planet as well. What would you like to see coming out of this? They're worried about global warming in general, and we're at 1% or 1 Celsius of an increase. They don't want to get to 2. What would you say?
Well, there is a big initiative that WWF have launched called Save the Forest, and it's because essentially around the globe in the tropics, we're losing forests at the rate of 2 football pitches every 2 seconds. Now that's a remarkable remarkable statistic, and that loss is irreparable, because with it, of course, goes not just the trees themselves, but habitat, biodiversity, and the contribution that trees make, of course, to production of oxygen on the planet. So I think, connecting kids to the idea of planting and to the idea of the benefit that a stick in the ground can bring after 5 or 10 years. As they grow, it grows with them, I think is absolutely fundamental. So this initiative, and I think any like it, should be actively encouraged. And I think also we need to tighten up legislation on the importation of legal timber, which is the big WWF campaign, and that's really worth pursuing it in Paris, I think.
Kevin, good talking to you. We'll leave you to get a few more trees into the ground there with those kids. Good luck with the initiative. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.